Hello and welcome back to another video on the JJ Think Tank. I hope you're doing well today. My topic of discussion will be about the pre-ontological chaos or the pre-ontological void. This is a philosophical term or philosophical concept that I think will help us a lot in the era of postmodernity, and I think it helps to clarify many issues when it comes to human nature, freedom, perhaps even philosophy itself, and how this concept it can help us to regain our humanity, because I'm of the view, it's my opinion, having lived 31 years and observing people and thinking about where humanity is going, that a lot of people are starting to lose their humanity. And as I've grown older, the position of humanism, humanist thought, appeals to me more and more, because this position allows us to recognize the humanity in the other, to recognize our own humanity, and through this to solve conflict in a more harmonious way. I don't believe in this false worldview that there's universal love. Let's just love each other. I think this is a false worldview. It's a pipe dream. Our Earth here, our life here on Earth is based on conflict, unfortunately, and trying to create heaven on earth and a utopia always leads to bad outcomes. And at this moment in time, a brilliant thought and quote of Peter Hitchens comes to mind, and he said, to try and reach utopia, you have to cross a river of blood, and you never get there. So let me just find this quote exactly. I want to read it to you so that I'm not making a mistake. Yes, Hitchens is known for the assertion, "The problem of utopia is that it can only be approached across a sea of blood, and you never arrive." I mean, this is a brilliant quote by Peter Hitchens. In my opinion, Peter Hitchens was a much more intelligent thinker, a much wiser thinker than his brother Christopher Hitchens, because Christopher Hitchens, he fell into this deluded atheist worldview, and because of this he was not accurate in his thought, really. I don't really rate him that highly. Of course, Christopher Hitchens, he was very eloquent. I'm sure he had many interesting thoughts and ideas, but ultimately, I feel we could say a distance to him. I don't really agree with his worldview. But perhaps I need to read a couple of his books. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I can find something of note in his work. But yes, so this is a key thought, I think, and it's linked in some way to what I'm about to say about the pre-ontological chaos or the void. And this is basically just a reflection of our human nature. Humans, they're not only part of the light. Yes, we're a mixture of lightness and darkness. We have a shadow. Yes, and here I'd like to read a short passage. It's not a poem. It's more of a short truism written by David Whyte. So he is, I believe, a Scottish poet. And this is what he wrote about the shadow, yes? So, shadow does not exist by itself. It is cast by a real physical body. We may say a person is overwhelmed by their shadow. A Harvey Weinstein by their sexuality. A Richard Nixon by their overweening sense of power. A nation by its hubris. But their shadow is passive, an absence of light, a shape lent by their own outline. Shadow is shaped by presence. Presence comes a priori to our flaws and absences. To change the shape of ourselves is to change the shape of the shadow we cast. To become transparent is to lose one's shadow altogether, something we often desire in the spiritual abstract, yes, that's true, but actually something that is not attainable by human beings. Exactly, so of course we want to try and become like Jesus Christ, yes, but it's impossible. It's impossible, and this is a paradox, yes, because if we all became like Jesus Christ, yes, then we would already be in heaven, yes, but we aren't, are we? We're not in heaven at the moment. We're on earth, and therefore. This false worldview promoted by thinkers such as David Icke, yes, and many others in the past who claimed that they were the Son of God, yes, they were all-knowing, etc., is misleading. It's untrue, and it's full of falsehood, and it deprives us of our humanity. So I'll continue reading. Shadow is a necessary consequence of being. Let me read the previous sentence. So I'll repeat the important point here. To become transparent is to lose one's shadow altogether, something we often desire in the spiritual abstract, but actually something that is not attainable by human beings. To change the shape of the identity that casts a shadow is more possible. Exactly. So we can change the shape of our shadow. We can become closer to God. We can become more like Jesus Christ, but we can't become like Him. And history confirms this. Looking back at history, how many people exactly imitated Jesus Christ? How many were able to do this? Not many. Yes. Not many. Of course, there are some examples. For example, Maximilian Kolbe comes to mind. So Maximilian Kolbe, he was a Polish priest. He had some German blood, but he was a Polish priest who gave up his life, yes, for another man in the German death camp of Auschwitz. So of course there are examples, but it's extremely difficult, and this earth doesn't allow this to happen. It's not possible for everyone to be like this. There's so many of us on the planet now. We have so many obligations, etc. This world is imperfect. This earth is imperfect. So naturally, we as humans are imperfect. We can strive to become better, but we will never be. Exactly like Jesus Christ, yes, and those who try to be like Him, paradoxically, they become more like robots, and this is what I think of certain people, that they spread the false light. Yes, it's a falsehood. There's something false about their virtue, I think, and you need to be wary because the devil, the devil is very cunning. He's smart. He tries to deceive you. Yes, in different ways. So yes, going back now anyway to let me finish this short passage by David Whyte. So even the most beneficial presence casts a shadow. Mythologically, having no shadow means being of another world, not being fully human, not being in or of this world. Shadow is something that must be lived with literally as it follows us around, obscuring the sun or the view for others. Yet we cannot use it as an excuse not to be present, nor to act, nor to affect others by our presence, no matter if the effect is sometimes indeed overshadowing and difficult. And yes, this is obvious, yes. When we reflect on our lives, on our relationships are never perfect. There's always some conflict there because of our shadow, yes. But those who know their shadow, those who know that they have a capacity for evil, they actually are able to become good, yes, because they have this fear of God, yes, and fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And through this fear, you notice your capacity for evil, and you sublimate it, yes. You become closer to the good, and you shape your shadow, yes. You're able to shape your shadow so that you are a better person, but ultimately you're not perfect, yes. You can't. Human beings, we are imperfect creatures. And this is, I think, what David Whyte is trying to get at. And when I read this, I was in awe. Yes, it really clarified a lot in my life when I read this short passage. Let me continue now. Anyway, so nor can we use it as an excuse to run uncaring over others' concerns. Exactly, we can't be uncaring towards others at the same time. So the more we dive into the condition of the human, the more we dive into the human condition, we discover so many paradoxes, yes? And this is what makes humans so special. Doesn't the Bible say that humans were created so that they become greater than the angels even, yes? I know there's some quote, some passage in the Bible about this. I mean, I'm not a theologian, so my theological knowledge is not so good, to be honest. I consider myself more of a kind of philosopher, social scientist, humanist. But I do believe in the Bible that there is such a thought. Let me check now, maybe. So the Bible presents a complex view where human beings are currently or were created a little lower than the angels. Psalm 8:5 and Hebrews 2:7. However, this is seen as a temporary little while status. Scripture indicates humanity's ultimate destiny is higher, featuring roles that involve judging or ruling over angels in the future, united with Christ. So that's an interesting thought. Obviously, this is based on AI, so I don't know, it might be wrong. If anyone is watching this, feel free to comment in under the video. But yeah, it's all very interesting. So let me continue. To live with our shadow is to understand how human beings live at a frontier between light and dark, and to approach the central difficulty that there is no possibility of a lighted perfection in this life. That the attempt to create it is often the attempt to be held unaccountable, to be the exception, exactly, to be the one who does not have to be present or participate, and therefore does not have to hurt or get hurt. So yes, if we try to be so perfect, paradoxically, it leads to us becoming quite cowardly, maybe, because we're afraid to hurt others, or we're also afraid to get hurt, and again, it doesn't mean that you go out intentionally to hurt people. Yes. And here we go. We can start talking about free will and whether we are free or not. I mean, I think we are free. We do have some free will, but sometimes in the process of becoming a better person, along the way, unfortunately, you do cause harm. Yes, and others cause harm to us as well. So we are all imperfect. We all have original sin, and this is the worldview of the Bible, and it's a wise worldview to have, because when you notice that humans have original sin, you don't try to create these utopian projects that end up in even more damage, and violence. So here we can think of communism, yes. So the communist system was this utopian project that tried to perfect man, but because it was so obsessed with trying to perfect man, it actually caused more damage. Yes, so many millions lost their lives. Stalin, yes, Stalin, Lenin. All of these. Paradoxically, they are great figures of history because, looking back in hindsight, God uses evil for the greater good. Again, it's all a paradox, but then, because we can think about history, we can learn from history, and we can improve our Earth here by being more cautious. Yes, we shouldn't be so rash and try to create a utopia too quickly, because this also is dangerous. Yes, can lead to a lot of death, unnecessary death and damage. And here it's quite personal because it's quite a personal issue for me because I'm from Poland, and my parents and my grandparents they suffered a lot. They suffered a lot because of this, and it goes down the generations. So we need to avoid this. So yes, anyway, let's move on. So to live with our shadow is to understand how human beings live at a frontier between light and dark, and to approach the central difficulty, that there is no possibility of a light of perfection in this life, and that the attempt to create it is often the attempt to be held unaccountable, to be the exception, to be the one who doesn't have to be present or participate, and therefore doesn't have to hurt or get hurt. To cast no shadow on others is to vacate the physical consequences of our appearance in the world. Exactly. So I think there's this worldview now, quite popular in general, that we are just pure spirit, yes, pure soul, pure mind, but ultimately we have a body, yes, and we are also tied to our bodies, and we can't escape this. This is the human condition. We are humans, and so we have a body, and so we need to take this into account when we discuss our worldview in general, and when we think about reality, when we philosophize, when we try to make the world a better place, because again this helps us to avoid the trap of falling into dangerous utopia. Yes, because as Peter Hitchens famously said, I'm repeating myself, but I think it's important. Utopia. The problem with utopia is that you have to go across a sea of blood, and you never arrive. Yes. So let me finish now this passage. Shadow is a beautiful inverse confirmation of our incarnation. Shadow is intimated absence, almost a template of presence. It is a clue to the character of our appearance in the world. It is an intimation of the ultimate vulnerability, the dynamic of being found by others, not only through the physical body, but by its passing acts, even our darkening effect on others. Shadow makes a presence of absence. It is a clue to ourselves and to those who we are with, even to the part of ourselves not yet experienced, yet already perceived by others. Shadow is not good or bad, only inescapable. And what a brilliant passage that was by David Whyte. Here's a book, The Consolations it's called. The Solace, Nourishment and Underlying Meaning of Everyday Words. And I recommend everyone to read this book. It's divided into chapters based on words. So, for example, chapter 1 is alone. Next one, ambition, anger, beauty, beginning, besieged, close, confession, courage, crisis, denial, despair, etc., etc. Yes, let's see here. All the words. Another interesting one for me was Istanbul. So, page 92 was Istanbul. And Istanbul is a very interesting city because it's a city found between East and West, and I really do think that the region between East and West it's the most interesting region, I think, because this is where we have this mixture of Western culture, of Eastern culture, and you have this interesting mix going on. Yes, but maybe I'm biased. Yes, because I'm from Poland. Yes, my parents are from Poland, so where we are, Poland is a country. Yes, between East and West, kind of like Turkey. Yes, but anyway, now I want to go into my article and expand on this topic a bit more because I wrote down my thoughts about this topic on Medium, referring to other thinkers as well, but also providing my own kind of perspective. And this is what I wrote. Yes, so to revivify the Logos, we must return to the pre-ontological chaos or the void. So by chaos, we are referring to the unfathomable void preceding creation itself, absolute nothingness. So here you might think, I'm talking about the chaos of Satan, yes, or the chaos of the devil. I'm trying to spread conflict, yes. But no, here I think there's a key distinction. Here we're talking about the void. So before creation itself, before God even created the world, there was just like a void, a chasm, yes, just blackness, darkness. There was nothing there, and out of this came God created the world. And many thinkers talk about this. There's different perspectives on this. Zizek, Slavoj Zizek talks about this. So he really is an interesting thinker, Zizek. In the past, I judged him. I judged him too much. I thought he was stupid. I thought he was just a propagandist. But as I've grown older, I've noticed that he is a brilliant thinker. He's a true philosopher. Zizek is a true philosopher, I think. And reading his works, I think you have to read his works directly also to appreciate his thought. So I read The Parallax View recently, and I picked up a lot of thoughts, interesting thoughts and ideas from this book. I made a video about this on YouTube, so you can find it on my YouTube channel. But yes, let's move on. So because I've gone on a tangent again. So yes, this chaos, I'm associating it with the chasm, the void. When God was looking, yes, if I can even say that, yes, when God created the world, He created it out of this nothingness, yes. And science talks about it as well, right? The Big Bang, that the world came from this nothingness, from this black hole or whatever. And here we can go into a philosophical interpretation of what a black hole is. At this moment in time, I don't really have a view. I mean, the physics and the maths, the scientists say that the black hole is mysterious. Yes, there's at the level of the black hole, mathematics starts to break down, physical equations start to break down. At the center of our universe, apparently there is a black hole. I've read some information about this. So that's the popular science view. Yes, I don't know. I don't want to say more about this because this is not my domain. This is not my speciality. Yes, I don't I've never studied physics at a higher level, or maths either. So I don't want to talk about this, but I want to talk about this kind of pre-ontological chaos or the void from a more philosophical perspective, yes? And here I included two quotes that are linked to this, I think. And the one is by Heraclitus. So he was dubbed the philosopher of darkness. Yes, Heraclitus. I'm pretty sure he was a Greek philosopher who lived before Socrates. So let me just. He was, yes, considered a dark philosopher. He was apparently he was arrogant. He was depressed. He was a misanthrope. He was subject to melancholia. So he was controversial, wasn't he? But he was called the dark. Pretty sure. I think he was called Heraclitus, the dark philosopher. Let's see. Why was Heraclitus called the dark philosopher? There we go. Heraclitus was called the Dark One, or the Obscure, by his contemporaries and later writers because his philosophical teachings were intentionally difficult to understand, characterized by cryptic, paradoxical, and aphoristic language. According to this is incorrect. He wrote in riddles and used profound paradoxes rather than clear explanations to communicate his ideas on the logos. So Heraclitus is interesting. E. Michael Jones talks a lot about the logos. So he's another brilliant thinker. He's a Catholic thinker. I recommend everyone to read up on E. Michael Jones. He is an American-Irish. No, sorry, not American. Well, he is American, but he is an Irish-German thinker, philosopher, who was born in America. And he talks a lot about the logos, about Heraclitus. He traces the progress of philosophy through the centuries, and he noticed the importance of Heraclitus, yes, to understanding the workings of the logos, and how this logos is both associated with the light and with the dark. Yes, because as I reiterated previously, humans, we're in between lightness and darkness. Yes, we all cast a shadow. So this was one quote that I found to be important because it's true. Opposition brings concord, and out of discord comes the fairest harmony. So this is true when you listen to music, when you play music. You notice that harmony only arises out of a kind of a contrast. Yes, there's agreement and then there's disagreement. The music, the notes, there's a contrast between them, and this harmony results from this contrast and conflict. So we can see this in music. Yes, when we listen to music. But I'm sure we can apply this to many other aspects of reality and life. Yes. Now the second quote. So this is by Alexander Dugin. So Alexander Dugin, he is a very controversial philosopher. Sometimes he is a bit propagandistic. We could say he makes these rash statements. And he is a bit of a spokesman for Russia, isn't he, sometimes? But I think he is also a unique thinker, a unique philosopher, who sheds a lot of light on the current state of reality and the world. So this is what he said: modernity has killed eternity, and postmodernity is killing time. The architecture of the postmodern world is completely fragmented, perverse, and confused. It is a kind of labyrinth without exit, folded and twisted as the Mobius strip. And this was, well, when I read this made me think a lot, and it reflected my experience really, and well, my experience in the past, I guess my current experience as well, because we're all kind of perhaps trapped in this labyrinth of postmodernity. There's so much change going on with the rise of technology, etc. And we are in this labyrinth, and sometimes it seems like there is no exit. It's folded and twisted as a Mobius strip. And here, Dugan alludes to a mathematical structure, a mathematical shape, Mobius strip. Let's see how this looks like. A Mobius strip is a one-sided, non-orientable surface created by giving a strip of paper a 180-degree twist and joining the ends. So this is how a Mobius strip looks like. So I guess it looks like a form of infinity, doesn't it? Because we can, here for example, it looks like the sign of infinity, yes. The symbol of infinity, but is it a good form of infinity or a bad form of infinity? This is the question, I think, because we can be trapped in a false infinity, and here what comes to mind is the idea of transhumanism. So there are thinkers out there like Ray Kurzweil who want to upload their consciousness to the digital space. So you've got these absurd worldviews that man can achieve immortality by uploading his consciousness, his data, yes, onto a computer, and through this to achieve immortality, yes. But this is completely false. We can only achieve immortality through Jesus Christ, yes. And this is another lie spread by the devil. Yes, he's trying to trick us. Yes, I mean this is all quite, for many this is quite obvious. A lot of people are notice that this is a scam, but then a lot of people are quite naive and they think this is a form of salvation. Yes, so these are just my thoughts. Yes, so this is what I think. I may be wrong. I'm just speaking my mind, speaking from the heart, speaking from my brain, from my mind. So obviously I may be wrong, yes, but I don't think this is a form of salvation. Yes, uploading your consciousness onto digital cyberspace, I don't know. It sounds like nonsense to me, to be honest. And obviously we've got other thinkers like Brian Johnson who says he doesn't want to die. He takes thousands of different supplements because he wants to achieve immortality. Again, this is falsehood in my opinion. But whatever. Let's move on, yes? So, this is how I began my article. So I wrote down here, as Nietzsche and Heidegger prophesied, the Logos in the West is reaching its expiration date. And as a result, we can see the pervading nihilism and confusion around us. So here, I guess people could criticize me and say, oh, you always criticize the West. Oh, you're anti-Western. You live in the West, yes, you live in the West, but you criticize it. Well, perhaps, I mean, this is a valid criticism, but I think I'm right. I think a lot of other people, a lot of other thinkers state exactly the same. It's kind of an intuition, you can sense it. Like the West is reaching its end stage, as Spengler said. So Oswald Spengler was a famous German philosopher, and he prophesied the end of the West, the coming end of the West, because he had this theory that civilizations, they rise and fall. Yes, so at first they're primitive, they are at the primitive stage. Then they start to develop their culture. They're at the cultural stage. And finally they reach the civilizational stage where the most important thing is money, yes, transactions, money, etc. And he highlighted how the West is reaching this stage and that it will soon collapse. And more and more people are noticing this. Perhaps it might not. We can still avert it. I think there's still a possibility that the West will not collapse, but it seems that at this moment in time that it's definitely on the decline. Yes. So yes, Nietzsche and Heidegger, they prophesied that Logos in the West is reaching its expiration date, and as a result, we can see the pervading nihilism and confusion around us. And this is confirmed when we look at the arts. So modern art, postmodern art, it's rubbish, isn't it? It's absurd. So when we look at a picture, there's just a bit of black paint, or in Tate Modern. So in Tate Modern in the UK, a piece of art is just a banana on the floor. I mean, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? And then also a lot of modern music also shows the slow decay of time. So modern music is becoming very repetitive and simplistic, and this is a reflection, I think, of the current state of affairs. Before, in the past, music was much more refined. We had obviously classical music, etc. But now a lot of modern music, it's degenerate. Yes, so we can think of techno. Techno music is a very degenerate form of music. It's just dun dun dun. So it's repetitive, it's simplistic. So this reflects, yes, where the West is at. But again, here people could criticize me and say, "Oh no, the West still cherishes the music of the past," and yes, that's true. Of course, we can avoid this negative music. We can cherish the music of the past. But I guess my argument is that the new music, yes, whatever that is new, whatever appears that is new, that is fresh, it's not of a high standard in general. Yes, whatever the art as well, yes, modern art. Perhaps this is because this art is promoted, yes, by the establishment and by the culture, yes, and also this simplistic, repetitive music is also promoted by the culture. We could also make this argument, but you understand my general idea. I think that there is a decline happening in the West, and more people perhaps are noticing this. You can find many thinkers online that are noticing the same process taking place. Yes. Then I wrote this. So here we can also state how the data of a given object is identified as more real than the object itself, which forms the groundwork for data science and reveals how we are forgetting being itself. So I noticed this when I read Yuval Noah Harari. Yes, so Yuval Noah Harari, he is a thinker. I've got his book here. He is a thinker from the ethnicity J, the ethnicity that begins with the letter J. Yes, and he has this worldview that we are all just made from data. Yes, we are all just data. Humanity is just a complex bit of information. Yes, we are just everything about humanity can be boiled down to data. Again, this is nonsense. they think they know they think they know us more than we know ourselves. Yes, it's kind of an arrogance. They think that just because we post something online, that this is a true expression of ourselves, and that all our data points can coalesce into our identity. But this is not true. Yes, we are not just data. We are something more. And again, this is a reflection of how the West is forgetting being itself. Yes. This is my interpretation, anyway. But I must say that this book by Harari was actually very good. So it's called *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind*, and it wasn't, for me, it was an interesting book. It had a lot of provocative ideas, new ideas. It's basically a theory of how humanity developed, and it looks at the past, obviously, and how we got here. Yes, because when you reflect on what humanity has achieved so far, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? And I guess this book it goes into this. But anyway, yes, moving on. So this expiring logos that I mentioned previously, the expiring logos in the West, is also behind the modern scientific method. And despite what science offers, science has made the world a bit dull. Yes, it's devoid of being. The world is a bit dull. Here, perhaps my argument is not very solid. Perhaps I'm a bit irrational here, but it seems to me that science is causing humans to be perhaps divorced from themselves more and more. I guess here we can talk about how science is used, yes, and how humans use technology, but science is not a neutral discipline. You can use science for good, or you can use science for evil purposes. There are always ethical and moral questions at play, and this is why, just because a scientist says something, it doesn't mean that he is correct, or he is closer to the truth. Science can be used for evil purposes, yes, to control humanity. But also science can be used to give humanity more freedom. So I guess this is what I was trying to get at. We can't trust scientists totally. There are a lot of evil scientists out there, and they're not good people, and they use science in order to enslave humanity and to create more evil in the world. Basically, they're just evil people. I do believe in good and evil. I think there is the good and there is evil. Yes. So now I guess now I was a bit pessimistic. Yes, I was not nihilistic most of the time, but at this moment in time, I wanted to talk about solutions, and I wrote down here: how can we lead ourselves out of this impasse? And when I started thinking about this from a philosophical angle, and through the thought of other thinkers, I wrote down that it's not through logos itself that we can save logos, as Michael Jones says. Logos needs to be saved from itself, since logos needs something opposite to itself to be saved. And here the savior is chaos. So chaos is the opposite of logos, yes? And I guess this idea of mine, a lot of the substance to this idea my inspiration for this idea came from Jordan Peterson. So he talks about order and chaos, how there is this dialectic at play between order and chaos. So sometimes if we fall into too much order, then we need a bit of chaos to then create a more complex form of order that provides greater freedom. Obviously, here we could expand on this more and more, but when I wrote this down, when I expanded on this idea, this thought of mine, this idea of Jordan Peterson's came to mind, definitely. And yes, so the saviour is chaos. So just like a fish cannot live without water, so Logos needs chaos to survive and be revivified. So here, water, we can equate water with the unfathomable abyss, yes, the void. Water, the ocean, when we think of the ocean is like this void, yes, this massive unknown. It's the unknown, yes. We have the known and the unknown, and this void, this pre-ontological void, it's like this ocean, yes, this unknown from which we need to find more order, yes, more freedom. And expanding on this, we can also talk about chaos theory. And I found out about chaos theory. I was introduced to chaos theory by my sister. So my sister Natalia, she is a mathematician, and hopefully I actually plan to have a conversation with her soon, my first episode with her on this channel. So you'll all meet her probably. But yeah, so she researches into chaos theory. She's involved in this world, partly. I think she has other interests in mathematics as well. And this theory talks about the science of surprises, yes, the non-linear and the unpredictable. And the unpredictable, the non-linear, this is the source of freedom for us. It's the source of chaos. It can be equated to chaos, but chaos in the good sense, yes, not intentional chaos, because there's the intentional chaos that is equated with the devil, yes, with Satan. Here I'm talking about the void, yes, the pre-ontological void, or pre-ontological chaos, yes, and this chaos theory talks about how essentially some things are impossible to predict or control. Ultimately, we are at the mercy of God. We can't predict exactly what will happen. We can't control exactly what will happen. We shouldn't even want this, because this will lead to a trap. Yes, and ultimately the devil, the Satan, he wants to trap us into a closed system. We don't want to be closed. We don't want to be closed. We want freedom. We want more and more freedom. And this is why, paradoxically, this void, this unfathomable void, this pre-ontological void, it grants us the possibility to be free and to not be trapped and enslaved by a corrupt system. Yes. And this is good news for us, because it automatically implies a degree of freedom and free will, and it shows how nature cannot be completely subsumed. Yes, we can't. We don't have total power over nature. We need to we have to strive to overcome nature, but sometimes nature it has the upper hand. And I guess here at this moment in time, talking about this topic, this philosophical issue, this idea. When we think about God, is God fundamentally irrational? Is he irrational actor? Is he irrational? Various thinkers from the world of Christianity and from the world of Islam, they have different perspectives. Some theologians say that God can be known through reason, but others are different. They are more mystical. They believe that you cannot understand and discover God through rational thinking and through reason. That fundamentally God is quite irrational and mysterious. Yes. So I know perhaps my mind is a bit crazy here. I'm spreading so many different thoughts from different angles. Perhaps it doesn't make sense, but it's. I'm a bit of a paradoxical thinker. I think in terms of paradoxes, really, because life is a bit of a paradox, I think. So there's a famous principle from chaos theory that reflects this beauty, I guess, this mysteriousness. So the famous principle is called the butterfly effect, and it talks about how when a butterfly flaps its wings in one corner of the planet, it can cause a hurricane to appear on the other side. And we can apply this to humans, yes? When humans fight tyranny, when humans fight systems that are coercive and controlling, you may think that as a lonely single individual you are powerless and weak, but every small action has an effect, and all these small actions can create a massive effect on reality. So your action at a distance can affect somebody else. Yes. And this is especially true now because we are all connected technologically, yes, via the internet. And we shouldn't be sad, yes. We shouldn't be unhappy. We shouldn't be nihilistic. We shouldn't be unhappy. We've got a lot of power. You can find a lot of power, and you are able to make an impact. So I'm coming to an end now. This has been a long video, but I guess I just went with the flow. Whatever came to my mind, I just wanted to share with you here today, because this concept of the pre-ontological void, it can link so many different ideas, yes. And yes, I ended my article with this sentence, or this paragraph, yes. So we must remember that God created the world out of the formless void. The word also arises from the formless void. In and of itself, it is not a negative category. It is simply the unmanifested void, ontologically prior to being, as argued by Meister Eckhart. And so, yeah, Meister Eckhart, he was a mystical theologian. He focused more on the irrational nature of God, we could say, on the mystical side of God. So here he is. He was a German Catholic priest and mystic, philosopher, theologian, and this is what he argued, and so therefore we shouldn't be confused with the chaos that the devil tries to sow. This is a key distinction that we need to make between the unfathomable void and chaos made by the devil, created by the devil, and spread by the devil. So that's the end of my video today. I hope you found it interesting. I hope it clarified something in your life. And yes, we need to remember that we do have a degree of freedom. It may be limited, but we do have some free will, we do have some freedom, and we are able to make a change in our life, to have more agency, and through this we become, more fulfilled in our life. So yes, if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It will help me grow the channel. If you like the video even more, consider donating at Buy Me a Coffee. I'll provide a link in the description. But yes, that's all for today, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.